The next set I'd like to bring to your attention is called a Grebe AC-6. It is Mr. Grebe's first AC set. Came out in 1928, and I think it is certainly one of the more attractive sets of the period. I think the majority of us are familiar with the metal box sets that were so prevalent by the late 20s, but Grebe definitely set the standard as far as attractiveness goes. And of course, his sets were higher price sets of the period too. They were far more expensive than the AKs and the Crosleys of the period. Now, with that said, I'd like to kind of touch a little bit on Grebe himself, Mr. Alfred Grebe. An interesting man. He was born in 1895 and kind of a child prodigy. And then by 1918, actually, he was installing radio gear in U.S. naval ships, anti-submarine radios for the war effort. And then in 1920 is when he actually started his company, and then certainly reached its pinnacle at 1925 with the introduction of the Grebe MU1. The MU1 was by far his best-selling set. And because his sets were higher price sets, in fact, this particular set you're looking at here in 1928 was $247, which was a lot of money back in the day. And then sadly, by when the Depression hit in 29, his higher price sets couldn't withstand, the market wouldn't support them. And then by 1930, the company actually, Mr. Grebe, closed their doors. And then, sadly enough, Mr. Grebe himself passed away in 1935. He died a young man at 40 years of age, and from complications from a colostomy. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the set. Now, on the front panel here, this knob to the left is your antenna tuner. You essentially adjust this to tweak the set to the length of your antenna. Here's your local distance switch. Here is your main tuning knob, your on-off switch, and your volume control. Now, I will make one recommendation with this set, and it's primarily because of its design. When hooking a speaker to this particular set, I'm going to strongly recommend that you use what's called a one-to-one matching transformer. And that's what I have here. This is actually designed for this purpose. It removes the B+, removes the DC voltage from the speaker itself. It just one side of this goes to the speaker, and one side goes to the set. And it's essentially a one-to-one matching transformer. Because this particular set, Grebe ran the high voltage, in this case 180 volts, directly through the speaker to the plate of the output tube. And 180 volts is kind of torture testing the speaker. So once again, I strongly suggest using a matching transformer. Okay, but with that said, let's go turn the set on. Now this set does take a minute to warm. It has 26 and 27 tube complement throughout, with the exception of the output tube, which is a 71. And the 27 tube does take a little bit longer to warm than the 26s do. So we'll give it here just a second. There we go. We'll turn the volume up a little bit.
More money flowing into Congress from drug companies,
and once again, I'm at the mercy. I'm at the mercy of local stations. My transmitter doesn't reach to my shop. So there's one local station. Here's another local station. And another station.
Yeah, nothing. That's why he's gonna get every opportunity to be there.
Kind of overdrove it there for a moment.
It just comes down to when are you going to good and adult.
But this particular set performs as well, if not maybe a little better than most sets of the period. Uh, but I think what sets it apart, as I mentioned earlier, is just the aesthetic, just the appearance of the set. I think it's certainly one of the most attractive sets of the period, and it's a proud member of my proud addition to my collection. But there you have it, a Grebe AC-6 from 1928. And as always, thank you for watching, and until next time.